But absolutely amazing. It is Friday, April 4th, 6:10 a.m. here in Austin, Texas. Hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. Nice to see you here, Bearded Bongman, Danny, Jesse, JJ, Longneck, Larry. Look, yesterday was a wild day. We had tariffs come out on earlier this week. We had big crashes happening yesterday. We had some coins that made some pretty remarkable recoveries. I've got some updates that I'll share a little bit with Stacker Agent. Talk a little bit about what's going on there today. Let's dive in. Nice to see you all here. Right now, we've got Solana that's just on this absolute dip. Look, I think it fucked China moment. It just went down. We were climbing back up. We had tariffs. We were climbing back up, and then China came out, and I just don't think they liked us right now. We're going to be in this weird war where I think we're going to play with a lot of money. Money's power, and I think money's going to be used. So that means I expect the market to be volatile. Now, what does that mean for you? It means there's money to be made. You know, if you would have caught this a few minutes ago, like an hour ago, actually, you could have shorted it and made good money. That's a good short right there. Right? If you'd have caught this yesterday about here, you could have ridden it up. Now, I don't know where we go down to. Look, we might hit 112 again. Like, we could do that. I mean, there's support way under 100. So I don't know where actually we'll go, but I do know there's some funny business going on between the countries right now, and we're the party of that by participating in the markets. And it's not just this market. You know, the Nasdaq's down 5%, Dow Jones is down 4%, S&P 500's down 5% almost. So lots and lots of red in the market this morning. Apple's down, Tesla's down, Netflix is down. Lots of red. You know, Jupe's down. So just know the market's going to be a little volatile right now. That's okay. There's money to be made in every market. You know, it doesn't mean that those Bitcoins or those Solana you are holding are as high as they used to be, but it does mean that there's money to be made in every market for a trader. And that's your opportunity that you have today. Bitcoin did about the same thing. Popped up to about 80, almost 85, and now it's down to 82. Right, popped up to almost 85, and now it's down to 82. When we look at Gary Coin, we had a great day yesterday. We went through this interesting run. Let me just zoom out a little bit and I'll show you. So we had hit like almost like a 6.2 million market cap on March 31st, and then we dipped down. And then we came back up, and we had almost got to a 6 million market cap again, and we took another dip. And we came back up again, and we almost got to a 6 million market cap again. And then yesterday we took a dip. I don't know who the wallet was, but there was some wallet yesterday that dumped like 30,000 Gary Coin on the market. Literally just fucking rained down, and they just kept dumping them. I watched them all day long yesterday. Let me see if I can find one of them. I watched them all day long yesterday, just fucking dumping Gary Coin. You find them. They're here. Have to go back a little bit. We had a bunch of buys come in after they finally stopped dumping. Let me find them. Don't think this was the wallet. I mean, they dumped some, but they didn't dump a lot. You know, they bought a bunch of coin and then they immediately sold them. Don't know why. And then they bought again. So kind of odd. All right, that one. So that's not the wallet I was talking about. Let me see if I can go back a little bit more. There's one wallet. It just all day yesterday, it just kept dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping and dumping. And I just kept watching it. And I was like, fuck, it's got like 5,000 coins left, or it's got 10,000 coins left. And eventually it got back to kind of its 0 point, which was good. And that's one of the things of a decentralized market. It's one of the reasons why, as a trader, I think you have to learn to read the market. I think you have to learn to do your research on charts. I think you have to learn to look into the different things. Why am I not finding what I'm looking for? Let's see. Maybe it's this one. I think it was this wallet. Oh, it came back in and it bought a bunch too. So this is it. This is it. So 3 days ago, sold 800, 3 days ago sold 2,000. 3 days ago sold 3,000. 3 days ago sold 3,000. Sold another 1,500 1 day ago. Bought some Liberty Fi, right? Sold that, lost their ass, came back in, bought some Gary again, or sold some more Gary, sold, and then came back in and bought some more Gary again. Makes no sense to me. You know, their recent P&L on Gary is they're up $697. I think it's fucking funny they lost their ass on all this other shit. If you're watching the stream, I'm sorry, but you should have held Gary. You shouldn't have paper-handed your Liberty Fi in for 7 minutes and lost yourself $74. You shouldn't have paper-handed your Pika for 7 hours and lost yourself $279. Because what ended up happening is you cost yourself some Gary coin through those trades. So if we actually look at this, you bought, 15 transactions. So you bought $7,734. You've sold $6,081. Your average cost bought was $18,975. Your average cost sold was $21,187. So we're almost back to your sell cost. So we'll just see what happens. But these wallets, like this wallet right here, is an interesting one. To me, I watch wallets. This is how you do it using GMGN. You can do the same thing. I watch every time, like this wallet, for example, every time they bought. So for 46 days all the way to 15 days, they bought. And then all of a sudden, they started selling 15 days ago. And for the last, until 11 hours ago, they hadn't bought in 15 days. They'd just been selling everything that they had. Just sell. And then all of a sudden, they started buying again. Now, where do they go? I don't know that answer. You know, back here, they bought thousands of coins. You know, they bought 7,000 coins for $482. Where here, for that $456, they only got 2,200 coins. So it cost them some money going through this journey. Obviously, they made a little bit of profit. I think they fumbled the bag. But I do watch this stuff. I watch particular wallets that are moving big volume. I come in and I look here. And when I go to Gary Coin, I go a lot of times to the traders and just look at this traders tab and see who's making money as a trader. Right? So I see, this wallet was last active 11 hours ago. This is our number one trader. Number one trader. Look at what they've been doing. So they buy. I mean, look at this. They got 2,700 coins for $250 back here. 2,700 coins for $250. Here, they spent $390 and only got 1,900 coins. So they're just buying and selling, and that's part of the market. I don't know if you know this exists, but you can go to any token. You can click on traders at GMGN, and you'll be able to see who the top traders are. You'll be able to see also, this is really important, the last time they were active. It's really important data if you're watching the charts, right? It's really important data to see who's making money. This particular person, it's also important to look at the unrealized. They have an unrealized gain, meaning they're still holding. Right, so they bought 84,350 Gary coin over 34 transactions. They've sold 62,500 Gary coin over 29 transactions. This wallet bought 99,440 Gary coin. They've sold 62,350. This wallet bought 86,000. They've sold more than they bought, so they've transferred from other wallets. And some people do that. Some people buy in wallets and transfer. Notice they've got the little fish, suspected phishing wallet, token transfer detected, meaning they're selling more than they're buying, so they're getting tokens coming into them. They're grabbing them from other wallets. A lot of people use multiple wallets. So I'm watching a lot of this stuff. I hope people bought the dip too. You called a nice long yesterday for 40%, JJ. Let's fucking go. You're making gains on the perps in this. That's great. You ended in green yesterday with Gary. That's good. Long neck Larry. I'm happy. Look, short-term price movement is what it is. And I know it never feels good, right? It doesn't feel good to look at your portfolio and say, shit, it's going down. But let me have a little conversation with you about it. All right, focus with me just for a minute. I know you might be busy and making your coffee or brushing your teeth, or hell, you might even be in the shower, right? But just focus for just a second. So the tokens you believe in, the ones that you have conviction in, that you think are going to make it, when the market dips, your best opportunity for, not for short term, Okay, we talked the other day about instant gratification. Now, if you want short-term gains, I'm just going to be real with you. Your best opportunity is to sell, right? Your best opportunity is to watch the charts, watch the ranges, be just a logical trader and go in and sell on opportunity. Your best opportunity to sell Gary Coin would have been at a 6.2 million market cap. If I zoom out a little bit, right? We got here, we got to a 7 million market cap way back here. Now we got to here. That was your best chance to sell so far if you're looking for short-term gains. But what happens when you do that is you leave yourself on the outside. You miss opportunities because you never know when a catalyst comes. And you get caught with no bag. So for me, on my conviction plays, the ones that I really believe in, I think they're going to make it. I'm active in the community. There's nothing else other than Gary, but it was in the past. What I would do when the market would dip is I would either hold if I didn't have liquidity. So if I didn't have liquidity, I would say, look, guys, I don't have any more liquidity to push in. I'm fresh out of dry powder, but I will hold the line with you. And I will get loud and I will hold. I won't sell. I won't cut my losses. I won't sell and buy back in. I will hold, because here's what happens when you sell. When you start selling and someone else starts selling and someone else starts selling, it creates this weird domino effect, right? It's almost like an avalanche, and the snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at some point in time, somebody comes in and scoops it. They find the bottom and they scoop it. And when that happens, you get caught dry. You get left on the outside. You get less Gary Coin. You miss it. Right now, you feel good when you ride it out. Like, it's nerve-wracking as fuck when you're riding it out. But you don't have capital gains. You don't have the tax implications. You don't have anything else that comes with it if you just ride it out. If you sell and buy back in, that's a problem, right? Because you've created potential gains or potential losses. All these things come into play for you, right? All these things come into play for you. But if you just hold the line, if you just hold your tokens, you cause no positive movement or you cause no negative movement, but you stop more negative movement. So for me, when the market is volatile like this, now if there's something that changes here, if you all of a sudden become bearish on Gary Coin, well, that's a different story. If you all of a sudden, if we pump out the wazoo and you're like, fuck, I got to take profits, well, that's a different story. But it's not a different story when nothing has changed for you. So you have to take care of yourself first. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at why a token's moving. That's why I talk about these things. Come to my morning streams, watch JJ or read JJ's recap if you can't. Right? Show up in some spaces, catch the news every day, the crypto news, so you know what's going on at the macro level. So at the macro level, you know what's actually happening. Now, if we would have been ready, look at the macro level here. So we knew at this moment on Bitcoin that Bitcoin was pumping. We knew that Trump was talking tariffs. We knew everything about it. And one of two things was going to happen. The market was either going to mega long or it was going to mega short. So if you would have been locked in at this moment and you would have shorted the market, you could have made so much money in this one moment right here. From here to about right here, you could have made about 7%. And if you would have shorted it on a 10x, that's a 70% gain on the way down. Shorting that on a 10x. So much opportunity there in that 4 hours. Stacker Agent will be able to handle that before it's all said and done. Stacker Agent will watch the sentiment of the market. Stacker Agent would know there are tariffs coming because we'll have manual analysts that feed data into Stacker Agent so we know what's actually going on. Not just AI. AI will get better and better and better, and we'll be able to replace humans over time. But we will have to have humans that feed in stuff like, hey, we have tariffs coming, or we have this FOMC meeting, or we have this, or we have that, or whatever those things are. Right? So we'll have that. We'll come in here. We will have Stacker Agent ready. So all you would have to do is we'd be able to push out a notification to all of our stackers and say there's volatility coming in the market today. There's a tariff conversation. Would you like to be prepared with leverage? Yes, no. Yes, I would like leverage. Okay, great. How much do you want to allocate and at what leverage percentage? Well, I want to be at a 10x and I want to put in 5 SOL. Perfect. When we get confirmation that the market's going to go one way or another, we will go and open that position for you. What's your target profit percentage? Oh, I'm looking for 50%. No problems. I got you. We'll go lock in as many profits as we can for you. We got what you're looking for. you would have been able to go live your life. We would have watched market sentiment. We would have watched for the market to either go up or down, right? We would have put tight stop losses in and been able to re-enter if we needed to. And we would have been able to put you in a position that would have printed a lot of money for you on leverage. Not everybody's comfortable leverage trading. It will be one of the skills that we build. It's not the skill that we're building first, but it will be a skill that we build. Honestly, it should have been the skill we built first. It's way fucking easier. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It's way fucking easier, though, to build leverage trading skills than it is to build what we're building first. Not as much money, way more risk, but way fucking easier. So just know that's how I look at things. Let's go over and look at Magic Eden for just a little bit. Nice to see you here, TC. Used Stacker GPT yesterday. That's amazing. General Wegs bought 900 Gary on the dip yesterday. Let's fucking go. Danny did a 28x on his leverage. That's an insane leverage play. Great job. We did get a couple sells yesterday. A couple things I'll talk about here. There's kind of two things happening. Number one, there are some that will get listed below our floor. It's going to creep down a little bit, but it hasn't creeped down much. It's been several days now, and it hasn't. If you look on the right-hand side, though, look at this. Look at our last several listings, 12.5, 14, 14, 17, 20, 17, 9.9, 20, 29, 11. 6.15 was almost scooped within a few hours. 19, 10. So what's happening is we're not getting a flood more listings at the floor. There are listings at the floor that we have to clear. Right? If you have one of these 7.805, which basically you listed a 7 sold, do me a favor. We have such a big wall there. Spread it out a little bit. At this point in time, I honestly don't care if you go lower or higher. But if I'm buying the 7.728 giraffe and I see this big ass fucking wall, I'm just not buying through the wall. That's not smart marketing for you if that's your asset listed. You've created a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You've created a 14 giraffe wall at the exact same price point. Now, I don't think this is all the same person. I think it's multiple people. I think multiple people said, I'm going to list for 7 SOL. And that's just how it calculated. I think it's probably 7 SOL. I haven't even checked. 6.969. 6.6969. Right, sorry. That's BF. Is it all the same owner? It might be. BF. 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 Well, fuck you, BF. 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 I guess they're all the same owner, so nobody else can delist. But if that's you, right? If this is you and you've got all of your stuff listed right, if you've got all of your giraffe listed right at that price, do us a favor and just spread them out a little bit. I don't care if you go cheaper. Look, go down to 5 SOL if that's where you need to go. If you need liquidity, go more. You can do whatever you want, but it's just a big ass fucking wall. Like, that's a big ass wall to break through. If you know who that is, ask them. Say, look, man, that's a lot of giraffe at one price point. Can you spread those out? And if you don't know how to do it, I can show you. If you put them in a pool, they will relist themselves. Right? So there's smarter ways to make you more money than listing them all right here. Right? It's just smarter ways. Getting yours sold is going to take forever when you build a wall like that. But you can. It's your choice. But we do have a wall. We did with a trade. We did get back on the leaderboard. Let's see where we rank for the day. I don't know why my sound didn't work earlier. I've got this weird issue that every now and then I do something on my computer. I don't know what it is. And it flips to a sound capture card internal. So like I could hear my music. You just couldn't hear my music whenever I had my stream live a minute ago. But we're the number 22 most expensive NFT on Solana today. We have flipped Retardio Cousins again, which is great. We are number 22 today. Not in volume, in floor price. Very little volume over the last 24 hours. Only like 6 SOL. So not much volume over the last 24 hours here. But that's okay. That's going to happen with us. I don't expect a ton of volume as we grow. I just don't. I expect that as we get more expensive and we don't have a heavy collector or a heavy trader base, we have a collector base. I expect that people will collect what they want. I don't expect a lot of heavy trades. Let's see. let's talk about Stacker Agent for just a little bit. After I do this, I watched this yesterday. It is down to 545. I watched it yesterday when at one point in time you could have got 650 Gary coin for 1 Solana. Now you get 545. The lowest I've seen it is about 490, 480. I saw it in that range. So we're not that far off. We're close, right? Obviously, we get back to a 6.2 million market cap, and that's exactly where that is. There's kind of nothing to change. So we've ran into trouble with Stacker Agent, and we've had some breakthroughs. So I've been telling you we've been trying to figure out this kind of max extract and how to get our live data running and everything like that. And I showed you some stuff yesterday that was a big breakthrough for us. We were tracking transactions and stuff. We're getting closer, but it's not easy. In order for us to track transactions, we have to decode what's actually happening, and it's not simple decoding. So for example, right now we have it where if they trade Solana or they trade USDC, we can decode it with no problems. But if they trade some random token, we still have to figure that out. So we have to figure out, well, they had this random token, and then it got to Solana, and then it got here. So we got one more step to go. Look, we're able to track a lot. Let me do something here. Let me show you. Let me just set something up real quick. Let me get out of this. Okay. Let me go in and pick a token. Let's go pick a token. We're gonna do this together. I'm doing it live. I'm doing it with you. So I'm gonna look at a token right now. Let's go to the memes. Let's see if there's anything close to graduating. Okay, this one. Let's go look at it. 376K market cap. Let's look at the sales, see if we're getting a bunch of sales. We are. All right, I'm going to grab this token right here. I'm going to load up with this. We're going to see if it works. I'm doing this live. All right, I'm doing this live. So if it doesn't work, that's okay. But we're going to watch this. I'm going to do this. I like to give the morning stream a little bit of extra, a little bit of alpha. I like to give the people who come back and watch this a little bit of alpha. So let me see what happens here. Let's see what this looks like. No, we haven't picked up an external liquidity pool for this one yet. I got to go pick a different token. Hold on. Okay, we're getting some of them. We're not getting a lot, but we're getting some. Let me show you anyway. Okay, let me change my share screen. I'm not getting all of them yet. I told you I was still struggling with that just a little bit. Change my share screen. Okay, here we go. Every transaction that's happening on this particular token should pop in. This is the token I was just streaming right here. You'll notice they are coming in. We're missing some of them. We're missing some data still. They're happening fast. You can see them changing on the screen. You just watch your screen move. We are grabbing a lot of these. We're not grabbing 100% of them yet. We're close. We're calculating market cap. This is as live as it is. You can go look at this token. This token contract is, let's see, how do I put this in a chat? Let me see. Let me go into here. Let me put this in a chat just so you can see it. I'll come into the Giraffe account and I'll put it in the chat just so you can see what this looks like. If you want to go look it up right now, you can. That is not it. That is not the contract. That is a tweet of mine, evidently. That is not the contract there either. That is a tweet of mine there too. Let's figure out why my copy and paste is not working. Let's do it this way. There we go. Now I'll be able to put it in there. Here we go. Give me 1 second. You can go look at this on GMGN if you'd like. You're more than welcome to. There's the contract. It is not the first thing. I think that's probably my status. This says I'm streaming. But there you go. You can go look at this. You can see the transactions coming through. You'll see we're still getting some errors here. We failed to fetch a soul price. So we had a little bit of an error, but you can see, I mean, they're just coming through. They're coming through fast, and we're not getting them all. I have the breakthrough to get them all, but let me tell you what's going on. So team struggles, and look, I'm a developer. I've been coding for I've been coding since the early 90s. 1990s, like last century. I've been coding in Linux. I'm 43. When I was in middle school, I had root access to Indiana University. So to their Unix terminals, I had root access to the servers. I was kicked off the internet for hacking. I had the knock on the door from the authorities that my mom was not so happy about when I was in middle school. She did not get excited when the authorities came and knocked on the door. She was not excited. I lost my phone line to my modem. I did not have a phone line to my computer for a minute. Right? So I've been developing for years. I don't until this week. I haven't actively coded, but we hit a wall. The team couldn't break through this. They kept saying, Gary, I can't figure it out. I can't figure out why we're missing transactions. I can't figure out why I can't calculate this. I'm stuck. And I said, no problems, fam. I got you. And I jumped in and I started helping them. And when I did that, I was able to get some breakthroughs. So we're going to move a little faster now. I'm going to handle some of the coding, though. Look, how do I say this? I either have to be in it or out of it. And when I'm out of it, I have to know that it's taken care of. And when we hit delays and we hit walls and I'm not happy with our progress, I'm just going to be real with you. I'm not happy with the time that it's taken us to get here. I say, fuck it. And I get my hands dirty. And that's what I did. So I've spent the last couple of days just honestly coding, right? Can I get this shit working? Can I figure out what's going on? Can I figure out what the team hasn't been able to figure out for a while? And I did. All of this data is live. You see my errors. I'm not bullshitting you, right? You saw we had an error calculating. I've got that worked out. I just have to build some tech around it. I got that working. We have an error right now where if it comes from another token and it swaps into this token, I'm not calculating it correctly. I have to do that. But we're getting closer and closer and closer. You're watching this live. This is a live token. It's moving live right now. It is, I don't know that I can set this up to share both screens, but I may be able to. Let's see. Let's see if I can do that. Maybe I can share my whole screen. Let's see what this looks like if I do that. Okay, let's go here. Let's kind of make these like this. All right, let's see what happens. Let's try something. Let's see on my share screen if I don't share that. But what if I share capture type? What if I share the monitor? Cancel. Monitor. There we go. Now you can see them both. So what I want you to look at, and I know it's a little small, but I want you to look at the fact that my market cap on the last transaction came in at 344.92. The market cap of the token is 351, 365. I'm missing some, right? I'm not calculating the market cap every time. Sometimes I miss it, right? 372, 366. I'm there because it's wicking up and down. If I go into like a 30-second or a 1-second candle, look at this. They're wicking up and down. So now you can see that as these buys are happening, we're catching not all of them, about half of them right now. I've got some work to do to catch them all. We're close on market cap. Market cap just topped over 406,000 in that last transaction. It was a wick up, and it already popped back down because there was a sell. Market cap now is, that one didn't grab. It came in at infinity a couple times. And we'll get that because it's a weird token and I'm not able to grab it. This market cap is at 389 and we're at 384. So we are getting really fucking close, right? Really, really close to where we want to be for what we're building. Give me a couple more days and I won't miss a transaction. I figured out how to do it. So there's this weird thing in the blockchain, and I'll geek out for you just a second while we're watching this. Look at that fucking just big green candle, shot up and shot down. We didn't land a transaction at that level, so we missed that. Now it's at 416, so we know it's moving around. right? We're catching this market cap. See, this market cap went to 6.56. There's no way it could have hit some random. So I've got to check my math. And what I do is I go to every one of these transactions. So this one, for example, I can go to this transaction here and I can go to SolScan. And when I go to SolScan, I can search for that block or that transaction and I can find exactly what it was. So I've got to decode all of this and figure it out. I've got to decode the fact that $6.99.86 of USDT ultimately bought 17,477 cabals, but it actually started here, and I gotta map that out yet. I'm still working on those maps. It has to be done manually. It's not automatic. There's nothing automatic about this. It's not an open search engine because I'm grabbing it when it's happening live. And I found some stuff that will let me, for certain tokens, grab it before it even confirms. So we'll be able to grab when the token starts the process. Before it confirms, when it starts, like for the hottest tokens, we'll grab it super early and watch what's actually happening super, super early through that journey. So this is what's, I mean, look, I just scroll, look at all these transactions. We're grabbing them. I can launch on any token right now. I'm not scanning multiple tokens yet. I'm launching on a single token and I'm making sure that my math is right. My math is right for Gary Coin. Not whenever you swap, like if you swapped UFD into Gary, I have no fucking clue what that number is yet. I haven't been able to decode that yet. I got to work on that. But if you swap USDC or Solana into Gary, I got you. I got it exactly the way I want it. So we're getting there. We're getting closer. This is live. I'm streaming this live off chain. You can, I mean, look, you can just watch. You know, our market cap just topped over 400,000. This is at 398. Right? This is as watch as live as you can get. 414. We got a 408. 408. So we're getting close. I've got to I got to get a different Solana price feed right now. I'm just updating it every 15 seconds. So my price feed, I'm not pulling live on Solana. I've got to build out a live price feed to calculate Solana's price feed live. We caught the fact that the market cap went down. This one we totally fucked up on. That's not a 14.41 market cap, right? That's not actually what happened. If I go look at this transaction, they did something funky that I haven't been able to track yet. So this transaction, yeah, so they went from Lux to Cabal. I'm not decoding that yet. I've got to decode that. I'm just not yet. So I've got to figure out what I have to find is at this point, I got to find this right here and I got to find the soul that went in and that's what I've got to track. Not the fact that they started with Lux. I don't really give a fuck about Lux. I care about when they got to the point of interchanging with Cabal on the Pump Fund AMM. So I just have to work on that a little bit more. We're close. I think you can see we're close. I think you can see this is coming in. Just to tell you what you're looking at here, just so you know. You're looking at decoded transactions. So you're looking at, if I just kind of scroll up a little bit and take one of these, you're looking at the transaction right here. You're looking at the swap details. So what type? So let's just pull this up and let's look at this particular transaction. Let's look at it together and I'll just show you how it works. So this is SolScan. Anybody can look here. So what we're looking at is we're looking at that this was a sell. The token went to USDC. Token went to USDC. Matches. Token amount 274661. 274661. Everything matches. USD spent or gained $106.26. This was off. So it came back here because that's actually what they got. So we got the final number. So if you look up here, it's like, no, that didn't work out. But we got the final number down here because that's actually what they got at the end of the day. So we got their final number, which is exactly what we wanted. We calculate how much the token price was. We calculate the total swap value, and we calculate the market cap. And then we have the wallet in place here. It's EQ. And that's the wallet that ended up doing this. That's the wallet right here. You can see it. It just lit up yellow. So we're grabbing what looks like raw random shit, kind of like this. If you scroll down and really start looking, it kind of looks like this stuff right here. Literally, this right here. This is what we're grabbing. And we're grabbing this. This is what we get to see. This is what we get to see. We get to see this stuff. We get to see big numbers like this, input them out and output them out. We get to see the fact that it's a swap event. It's a swap event. It's a swap event. So we get to see all those. We get to see everything of this. But we have to decode it all and build it into usable data. And when we get it into usable data, then we're able to take that usable data and make decisions on that usable data. For example, if the token and when the token hits a 500K market cap, operate a max extract strategy. So this particular token still hasn't hit that elusive 500K market cap, right? So it hasn't hit there yet. So we're really close to saying, okay, if it does, trigger max extract. If it does, trigger max extract, because everything else we tried before, it just wasn't catching him enough. It was sporadic. It wasn't reliable. It wasn't dependable. So I said the only way I know to fix it is we got to break it down and we got to build it back. We got to break it down and we got to build it back. We got to break it down and we got to get the data right. I've got to know without a doubt in my mind that every single one of these transactions I'm catching right here. Every single one of them, 100% on the fastest fucking tokens. Look at that, look at that, look at that. It's just fucking blazing. I've got to be able to catch every single one of them. I have to make sure that my market cap matches theirs. I have to make sure that my volume matches theirs. I have to make sure that every piece of what I'm doing matches public data. And when it does, then I know I can make decisions. I have to make it live. It has to happen in a split second. We have to be able to front run everyone else. So this is important. It's part of the process. It's getting through these little bugs and getting through these moments so we can make decisions. It's building from the ground up, building it to work on every type of transaction and every DEX and every tool and everything that exists. And it will get better and better and better and better. But it's not going to come as fast as I wanted because we hit some walls. So don't look for it to get released today or tomorrow. Don't look for me to dox a wallet. I do want to dox a wallet. I do think that I'll dox a wallet. And I do believe that we'll have a wallet doxed in April. I do not believe that we will onboard our first other person in April. That could totally shock me. We could blow through this. But once I get a wallet doxed, we got some infrastructure stuff we have to build up to go to the 50. And then we'll have more infrastructure stuff to build up to go to 5,000 or 10,000 or wherever it goes. But we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. And see, now we had no transactions, and now all of a sudden we're getting them again. See, we had no transactions for like 30 seconds, and now they're coming in, and we're getting them again. So we're getting close, right? They had 3, 4, 5, and they're starting to come in with us too. And I can load this on any token that exists. And then all I have to do is literally watch this number here. And we don't want to watch a single, like the first time we ping above 500K, we want to go on high alert, right? We want to go on high alert then. So we just tracked at a 379 and we're at a 383. So right on track. They're probably pulling a slightly different Solana price than I am. I could put my Solana price in here to make sure. They're probably pulling 114.06. I might be pulling something from a few seconds ago or a different price, but I am very fucking close, right? Very, very fucking close. So this was built, taking code that we had before, rebuilding ideas. I build a little bit more piecemeal. So I'm not storing in databases. I'm not archiving. I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to make sure my data integrity is in place. Our team passed through that phase of data integrity and they moved into building infrastructure. So a lot of our infrastructure is done, but we didn't have integrity in our data, and that threw our infrastructure off. So once I can build data that's has full integrity on the tokens that I'm monitoring, then we'll accelerate into infrastructure plays. I just wanted to give you guys just a little bit of something, right? Let you see it. I'm going to show you more and more. I'm going to build more and more. I'm going to make sure that I trust this data. I have a lot of money and I have a lot of reputation and a lot of things on the line here. So you're going to see me get my hands a lot fucking dirtier. It's something that I've avoided. I shouldn't have, but I have. For the last few months, I've said, look, I'm just going to trust the team. I'm going to let the team handle it. And unfortunately, it didn't get done the way that I wanted it to get done and at the time and the speed that I wanted it to get done. So I'm going to get my hands dirty and I'm going to do it myself. So you're going to see a lot more screenshots You're going to see a lot more info. You're going to see a lot more of the piecemeal of building together and not a lot of, ta-da, we're done. So that's going to be just a little bit different for you guys. But no, I will be sharing the whole journey with you. I will be sharing exactly what happens. Right, I'll share every single piece of it. Let me go back in. Let me grab my Brave browser again. Move back to that one. There we go. Now we're back on our normal stream. Let me kill this so I don't get into resource intensity issues. Let me drag this wide because it needs to be wider. There we go. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense to you. Hopefully you see that we are working our absolute ass off. You're too high right now, Sebastian. That's okay. That happens. We're out your keyboard. I'll buy you a new one. Let's get it. Yeah, and look, there was one point yesterday. I was like, my fucking keyboard won't even, I had to plug my cord back into it because it lost connection. It wouldn't even copy paste. My wife came home. She went for a run and she came home at like 11:30. She said, you want to come in and sit down and talk for a minute and talk about the run? I said, yeah, I'll be right in. I made it in at 1:30 in the afternoon. I think I was out of my office yesterday other than like showering. Literally, I would have to take a piss because I don't have a restroom in my office. And I would walk in my house, say hi to my wife, use the bathroom, and come right back outside all day building, getting us to a point where we can start to push data through here. Founder mode, locked in, making sure that I trust the data. Today, what I'll be working on is cleaning up this so I get the right data for everything I have. I have to integrate the new pump fun AMM because what we have to do, just so you get the concept, is we have to figure out every liquidity pool that exists for a token. And then we have to watch every interaction with that liquidity pool. And then we have to, at that point in time, we have to watch and monitor what actually happened in that liquidity pool. And then if there's multiple liquidity pools in one transaction, we have to watch that too. Because sometimes you buy and it spreads it across 5 different pools, and we have to add all those 5 pools together and figure out what you actually did. So that's what our next phase is making sure that we're covering all transactions. Once we cover all transactions, then we'll be able to trust our data enough to start building and start executing on our triggers. We already have the tech built to buy. We already have this tech built to sell. We already have our limit orders built. The part that we couldn't figure out was making sure that we called every single transaction live when it came in, and that's what I'm working on. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an update of what we've been working on. You're going to, just so you know, and look, I'm telling every single person here that's listening or every person that's listening to the replay, I'm going to be quiet while I'm coding because I can't be public on Spaces and coding. It's 2 different mindsets for me. When I'm coding, I've got to be in my coding brain, right? I've got to be thinking about, okay, how do I find the common key that every swap has? Well, that's a liquidity pool. Okay, let me go monitor these liquidity pools. I've got to be able to think through that, right? I can't go and bullshit about all these random tokens. I can't keep up with the full pulse of what's going on in Solana while I'm here. It's too much brain space for me. Literally, I'm in the office. It's 6:54. I got out here about 5:30 this morning, and from 5:30 until I don't know. Maybe I'll go out tonight. I have a client in town, so I may go out tonight and get a beer. But maybe not. It just depends. He's in town for an event. So, but I probably won't leave my office other than just to kind of run in and use the bathroom. Maybe to eat some food. Yesterday I didn't even eat. I ate a banana at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. My wife was great. She's like, what can I cook you? I'm not hungry. I'm just focused right now. Was kind of just focused and in my zone. But just know I'm busy. I'm working. I'll do my morning streams. I'll update you on my morning streams. This is before I get into that logic brain that much. I'm still creative. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm stretching. I'm warming up, stuff like that. So know that this is part of the journey that I'll be working on. I'll be sharing with you. I've got to watch, I've got to figure out, I've got to watch the removes because that's an interaction with a pool, but it's not a buy or a sell. It's a remove liquidity. I've got to watch when there's new liquidity added. I've got to watch we got to watch every single type of token. So just know, and there's nothing out of the box. There's not like an out of the box, here, grab every transaction for this token. We've written all the code for you and it's perfect. Ding, ding, ding. No, it just doesn't work like that in the blockchain. Here's the data. It's this massive, like imagine like an internet cable that's, let me just show you. This is what's happening. So this is Solana Explorer. And right now, there's 4,216 transactions a second. So what we have to do is we have to say, hey, Solana, there's 4,216 transactions a second. We want every transaction that has to do with this liquidity pool. We want every transaction that has to do with these 3,000 liquidity pools or these 50,000 liquidity pools. And then they come in, and then we have to say, okay, this one matches, this one matches, this one matches. We catch them, we categorize them, we store them, we organize them, and we take action. First step of that is making sure we're catching them all. Out of the 4,216 transactions, I have to make sure I catch 100% of the transactions for the tokens that we need. And I have to make sure I ignore 100% of the transactions of the things that we don't. So that's what we're working on. Just a little update. I appreciate you all so far. Do we need to watch burns? Yes and no. Yes, ultimately we will get to a point, but we're going to shortcut that right now. And we can query the chain through API and grab supply numbers. So we will update supply on a regular basis, and that's what most explorers do. They do not, they may display burns, but they're not calculating supply live. We will get to the point soon that we will calculate supply live. That's just not my urgent, because I can grab, supply doesn't change that much. And the only reason I need supply is to worry about market cap today. So once I get that done, now when we get into really advanced wallet tracking, which is we'll build as we move, but when we get into some really advanced wallet tracking, then we'll start to worry about supply, because we want to map all the supply and we want to know where 100% of the supply is. But the same thing with supply. What I have to do is I have to watch Solana when it was minted. So the raw data, I can't just ask it a question. I can't just say, what's the supply of this token? I have API access, I can ask that too. But I can't do that every second for thousands of tokens. It's too labor intensive, too resource intensive. So I can ask it every so many hours or every day, hey, can you update the supply on this? Eventually we'll get to the point where we know the supply, and then we watch for every new mint or burn of that token. And when it's a mint, we add to supply. When it's a burn, we remove from supply. And we will monitor our own supply numbers and then back test and update those on a semi-regular basis. Not a full regular basis. And most of them don't. I'll give you an example. So if we go to here, they say we have 1,564 holders. That's not true. That is not true at all. But that's the only holders that they've been interacting with since they've been monitoring the blockchain. So when they turned on GMGN, there's been 1,564 holders that have interacted with our token. But if I go here and I go look at SolScan, where's it at? Where's it at? SolScan. Here we go. There's actually 19,445 holders. So even GMGN, they're not going back and grabbing the full live data. They're reporting 1,564 holders, if you look right here on the right-hand side. Now, that's not the same data that they report at BirdEye. BirdEye reports different data. It's part of the problem. I got to figure this shit out. Right? BirdEye reports for Gary Coin. They report that we have 19,440 holders. They're a lot closer. Right? They report we have 8 markets. So we have to monitor every one of those 8 markets. So it's there. We're working. That's kind of all I can tell you there. Just know that it is something that we are heavily working on. Any other questions there, or are we done for the day? I think we're good. Not seeing anything else. JJ asked, do we watch for burns? Sebastian says, take your time is all I can say. I will. I won't rush this. Look, if you get impatient through the journey, that's your problem, not mine. I'm sorry. It just is your problem. It is not my problem if you get impatient. If you get impatient in the journey, you're going to cost yourself your blessings. That's just all I can tell you. It's not something that I can rush. It will be done when it's done. I can't tell you when it's done. I haven't been able to promise you. I'm telling you that I want to be able to dox a wallet this month, and I'm going to do everything in my power to do that. Right? I'm going to give you updates on a regular basis because I'm going to go build some of the logic here. Right? We've got a lot of the back-end infrastructure built. Think about it. If you've ever built a house or you've ever watched a building build, they've got to dig real fucking deep before they can build high. They've got to lay the plumbing, and they've got to put in, they've got to make sure they got all this underground work done, and they've got all this infrastructure stuff done, and they got to pull permits, and they got to do all this shit. We've done a lot of that heavy lifting on the back end. What I would have started with if I was Tess is I would have started with data integrity, but he didn't because it was hard and he hit walls. So instead of coming back and saying, hey, Gary, I hit a wall on data integrity, he just moved and said, let's go build our limit order system. He just moved and said, let's go build our wallet security system. He just moved and said, let's go build our agent interfaces. He just moved and kept building all the other things that we have to build in order to bring this to life. So I'm working on fixing this point in time to where we get solid data entry and I can log it in a database. And as soon as I do, then most of what Tess has been working on will come to life and the rest of the team. I'm in full communication with the team and letting them know where I'm at and where I'm at in this journey. Yeah, exactly right. And that's one thing that I've said, Sebastian, is I'm not willing to dox a wallet until I'm confident. And I hope you stay patient and stay with me. I don't care, in all honesty, because it's your loss. Like if you get bored or you get squirrel brain and you dip, it's your loss. Because the moment I dox a wallet is the moment that there's some like lighter fluid or some fire starter or some accelerator that's put on Giraffe, that's put on Gary Coin. The moment I dox a wallet. Keep showing up to the streams, keep watching these streams, keep reading JJ's recaps. Do your own recap if you want. There is no problems with having 12 recaps out there. If you come to a stream and you want to do a recap, do it. JJ's not going to get butthurt, and if he does, that's on him. That's not on you. Right? So just stay in touch. Or just move on right now. Just go get quiet if you want to. But don't sell your assets, because if you do, I think you'll miss out. All right, everybody. I hope you have an amazing day. I'm going to wrap up here. I'm not going to play music at the end of my streams. I am going live on YouTube as well. So I play the music here. There's a little bit of a wonky moment in the middle where I flip from the music and go live. I have to click on YouTube to go live there. But I am going live in both places. So if you ever want to catch this on YouTube, feel free. And I'm happy to see you there too. Or you want to watch the replay on YouTube, I'm happy to do that too. All right, everybody. Have an amazing day. I'm going to get back to work. I'll keep you updated. I'm around if you need me, and I do. Like, I check the group chat, and I'm using AI a lot to code and to help me fix problems and stuff like that. So while it's working, I will cruise the timeline, and that's why you'll see me clicking the like button a lot. You'll just see me be a little quieter, not writing any big essays or anything like that this week, or probably the next couple weeks until we get to a point that I can get out of this coding brain for a minute. All right, I appreciate you all. Have an absolute